All right, I'm on. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Grassroots Motorsports Live presented by CRC Industries. Going to be starting the show in just a couple of seconds. My name is JG Pasterjack. Thanks for joining us on a special Tuesday night edition of Grassroots Motorsports Live. You know, we are usually on Wednesday nights. This week, tomorrow morning, we are leaving for Lincoln, Nebraska in the SCCA Solo Nationals. So we're all packed up. We got everything ready to go. We'll be on the road tomorrow, so no live show tomorrow night because we'll be driving across the Great Plains of America. But here's what I want you to do right now before we start the show, before we take a close look at this 2018 Subaru WRX STI. I want you to reach in your pocket and whip out your device or go to your computer and go to your social media, wherever you're watching this video, and hit this little button that says... So here's a funny thing about liability insurance. Corporate liability insurance does not extend to my personal domicile. Not saying that for any reason, just kind of letting everybody know that. So go to your social media and hit that share button, and I'm going to share this to my personal page. Folks, it was just that easy, and it is done, and it is shared on my page. And we will be starting the show here momentarily as soon as I grab my iPad so I can actually talk to you folks while we take a look at this Subaru WRX. So here's what we're doing tonight. Let me get booted up here. Oh, I see we got a couple of shares coming in already. I see we got folks watching us. How's the audio, David, by the way? Audio is good. You might have noticed we are using a new lavalier mic tonight. We are constantly upgrading the technology on this show. We got Chris running a Steadicam. We have people all over the place. We have a huge crew in here tonight, all union too, so they are not doing a damn thing tonight. Folks, here's what we are doing tonight. We're taking a look at the 2018 Subaru WRX STI. So let's talk a little bit about this car. This is Subaru's flagship. I'm going to get out of the way of this thing so you guys can actually take a look. This is Subaru's flagship, has been for several years. 305 horsepower, 290 pounds of torque from a 2.5 liter engine. You might notice that it is very, very similar to the Subaru WRX. It is a submodel of the Subaru WRX. No longer are the WRX and the STI built on the current Impreza platform. They are actually their own unique platform that has carried over from the last generation Impreza and will carry over until probably about 2020 when all new platforms come out that will carry the Impreza and the WRX and WRX STI. But for now, the WRX and the STI still use previous generation Impreza platform, but a lot of tweaks. We're going to be looking at some of those tonight possibly. A lot of tweaks to increase the performance of these things dramatically. So what we're going to do tonight is take a little bit of a closer look under the hood, under the chassis, and see just what makes this thing tick, and see how it might be used as a track car, as an autocross car, or anything else in between. So Pete says, that's a nice garage. Pete, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. And let me direct your attention to my favorite part of the garage, which is the shelf holding all of the CRC goodies back there. Can you see it, Pete? Can you see it, folks? CRC Industries, a proud supporter of the show. Actually, right before the show started, we greased up all of the joints on our brand new Steadicam harness with some CRC Power Lube. That very can right back there, folks. CRC, a proud supporter of the show, a proud supporter of many of the things we do at Grassroots Motorsports. A company that if you reach for CRC product, look, you're not only getting a fine product, but you are supporting a company that supports the world we exist in. They are supporters of motorsports at every level, and they make great stuff. I mean, that stuff is... Okay, yes, it's all neatly arranged because they are a sponsor of this show. It's not there because of that, though. It was there before they were a sponsor of this show because we use all the stuff all the time. Also, right above that, the Autobooks Aerobooks bookshelf, autobooks-aerobooks.com. our favorite brick and mortar bookstore located in Burbank, California. They will sell you a book in person. They will sell you a book over the internet. They have amazing collections of automotive history books, non-fiction books, technical manuals, anything having to do with cars, boats, airplanes, motorcycles. Autobooks-aerobooks.com has it. Not only are they a fantastic bookstore, they are a hub of the Southern California automotive community. They have cars and coffee events every week. They have live book signings every week. And if they're not doing something, they will tell you who else in Southern California is doing something. So if you're ever out in Southern California for anything, you want to check out car stuff, autobooks-aerobooks.com. If you want to buy a cool book, that's the place. So Ryan said, Pete says, I forgot to mention the auto books above. No, Pete, I just hadn't gotten to it yet, but thank you for reminding me. But we really appreciate that our viewers are tuned into the folks that support this show, so we appreciate that. Ryan says he misses the hatch and the burble. Yeah, man, I miss the hatch too. This is obviously a four-door sedan with a trunk on it. As all WRXs have been. I really miss the little wagons and everything. So let's check out a couple things on this car before we kind of get it up in the air. First thing we're going to do is check the camber. Here's one thing about modern performance cars that is tricky when you're taking it to the track. And this is one of the things that actually I think kind of is ultimately going to limit the new Civic Type R. Is a lot of modern performance cars are camber challenged. And by that I mean they don't have a lot of provision for adjusting camber at the front or the back or really anywhere in order to tune the handling. So on track, in an autocross situation, you end up basically having way too little negative camber in the front, really grinding up and overheating the outside edges of the tires and not using the entire tread surface of the tires, which you would have to use to deliver maximum performance. So we're going to take a quick second here to measure the camber on the front and see just where we're at stock using our Watkins Smart Camber digital camber gauge. So that's actually not horrible. We have a degree, well, actually about 1.1 degrees, right about a degree of negative camber in the front, which actually does not suck at all. There's actually a lot of modern cars claiming to be performance cars that either come with the front wheels straight up and down, or even with a little bit of positive camber in the front. The Civic Type R, man, those front wheels are almost straight up and down, and there is not really any provision for camber adjustment there. Let's check the rear real quick. Even more actually, about 1.8 degrees of negative camber in the rear. So that's actually fairly encouraging to look at that and see that right off the bat we have a little bit of negative camber that is going to be using those tires, using more of the tread of those tires than they would if we didn't have that camber available. And once we get under the car, we will check a couple more things and see if there's even more camber available. So let's take a look around here and see just what we're dealing with. So yeah, Ed, maybe bring the light over and we'll start taking a peek around. So this is a 2.5 liter version of the 2 liter that's in the base WRX, 305 horsepower, 290 pounds of torque. I'm looking for a couple different things here. I'm looking for any adjustment at the top of the shock towers, and I'm not really seeing any available. Let me pull a bolt off. Because if there's a little bit of slop here, so we actually have you know, a 1/16 of an inch or so of room here at the top of the shock tower where we might be able to cheat a little more camber into there. I'm just about to touch the positive battery terminal with my wrench. And this is actually maxed out all the way to the negative now, so no more real camber to be gained there. But nice to know if you do end up with an STI that is a little camber challenged. Good place to look. At least eliminate some of those variables. You're not going to get, but maybe 1/10 of a degree from adjusting or from taking the slack out of those. But when you've got a bone stock car, you don't want to start adding parts to it. You don't want to start cutting stuff up or adding camber plates. You need every little advantage you can get. So you check these bolt tolerances. You check all of these different locations where you can possibly, you know, move a bolt hole to one end or the other, and get whatever you can. So let's see what else we got going on under the hood here. Top-mounted intercooler, and our hood scoop actually directly feeds that intercooler. No, nothing in the way there. So we've got a nice little foam and EPDM rubber seal around this hood scoop that directly vents cold air right into the top-mounted intercooler, which is going to lower that charge temperature a few degrees. Top-mounted intercoolers, you know, a little bit of a mixed bag. You're using the intercooler to cool the intake charge from the turbocharger. The turbocharger is going to compress the air. When you compress air, obviously it gets more dense, but it also gets hotter. When you compress something, those molecules are going to squeeze together. They're going to bump into each other. It's going to get hotter. So you want to cool that charge back down by using this intercooler. It's basically an air-to-air heat exchanger that runs the air through this series of cooling fins, radiates the heat out of it, boom, charge cools. But you're taking this heat exchanger, you're putting it right above a hot engine. That heat's going to rise up into here. It's not going to be quite as efficient as taking this intercooler, moving it down right into the airstream, down in the front bumper, which we would refer to as a front-mounted intercooler at that point. Much more efficient to package. They can actually assemble this entire engine with the intercooler, with all the turbo plumbing, put it right up into the chassis on the assembly line. But whereas if you had a front-mounted intercooler, you would have air plumbing connections to connect to. Wouldn't be quite as efficient for assembly, but is a lot more efficient for cooling. But at least they've taken and routed as much cold air as they possibly can right to this intercooler, and are trying to keep it as cool as possible. So, you know, not really a lot more efficiency to be gained here. As long as your intercooler is going to stay here, that's about as efficient as it's going to get. So a couple of questions. So Andrew says eccentric bolts on the struts will get you a little more front camber. Yeah, we're actually we're getting ready to pull off the wheels, and I'm curious to see what kind of a connection we have there between the struts and the knuckles. And so yeah, Dean. So Dean got a text. We have a new text feature, which I don't even know how it works yet. So if you want to sign up for text messages, what's the number for the text? Actually, go ahead and post it.
GRM to 33222.
Okay, check this out. If you text GRM to 33222, is that correct?
Yeah, it should be.
If you text, yes, more than likely, if you text GRM to 33222, we will text you really only cool stuff. When the live show is coming on, like killer subscription deals, like not just our regular sales, but like, oh my God, sales, I have to do this. Big event announcements. We're not going to blow up your inbox with a bunch of crap. It's because we don't want our inbox, because we all had to subscribe to it because we work there. But we don't want our stuff blown up with a bunch of dumb stuff. So GRM to 33222, and you get cool notices when we're doing stuff, just like this. So Ryan says there is a built-in factory vape option. No, that is aftermarket, sir. But there is a USB attachment that is vape compatible. So you can charge your juice tank or whatever the hell you kids are doing these days. All right, let's close this thing back up and let us take a look around. So the 2018 STI pretty much carries over from 2017, nearly unchanged. Chassis-wise, it's almost unchanged. Subaru will say, okay, there was a lot of little tweaks underneath, stuff like shock tuning, and we'll see a couple other things that maybe they change. But for all intents and purposes, 17 versus 18, probably pretty darn close chassis-wise. Does have quite a bit of a facelift up here. Grille is much smaller. Headlights now have the turny option. I'm pretty sure that's what that's called, where the headlights follow you or lead you through a corner. So that's a pretty cool option. Recaro seats are an option inside. Let's come around and take a look inside here. We'll move the car up so you guys can get in here a little bit easier. So a lot of little changes inside the thing for 18. Nothing particularly groundbreaking that really changes the functionality of the car, but a lot of little stuff. The screen is bigger. Some of the controls have been sort of updated and brought into Subaru's current scheme of fonts and graphics and artwork. These Recaro seats are a little bit different than last year's ones. They're quite comfortable, quite supportive. Really nice. So yeah, Pete wants to know if we tighten the strut nut we took off. Yes, we completely tightened that strut nut, and we'll actually check it again. So Nate Adair says they respond well to maxing out camber adjustments on the stock hardware. Should be able to get a half a degree or so. Well, guess what, Nate? We are already showing almost a full degree of negative camber on the front of this particular car. So I am encouraged quite a bit by that, because that tells me if there's still a little more tweaking to do, that maybe there's like a degree and a half available. Maybe you could even tweak a little bit more and get another half a degree out of that. So okay, I think that catches up on questions. So let's get it up in the air next. So it's a perfect job for you guys. We got a bunch of folks here tonight. And actually, while Ed and Tom are putting it up in the air, I will bug you guys with a couple of commercial messages, and we'll check our stream health over here. That's all looking good. First off, everybody, thanks very much for joining us on another edition of Grassroots Motorsports Live. A little bit of housekeeping now. So tomorrow morning, we're leaving for the SCCA Solo National Championships in Lincoln, Nebraska. The Tire Rack Solo National Championships. Actually, we will be out there for about 9 days. So we will be doing as much live coverage as our batteries and our data plans allow. Our plan right now is Monday night, you will see live coverage of the welcome party, including the competitor open mic talent show that we have as a welcome party. We give away free beer, free tacos, and everybody gets up on stage and does amazing things. You will be shocked and awed at how much talent the autocross community has on display Monday night. So I'm hoping that everything goes smooth with the stream, because that will be something you guys definitely want to watch. That's Monday night, probably around 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll make as many announcements as we can as we near actual showtime to get you guys set up for that. Wednesday night, we'll be doing our regular Wednesday show again. It'll probably be at a different time because we're going to try and do it from the autocross grounds in Lincoln, and we're going to try and get a few newly crowned autocross national champions on the show. So again, we'll be making announcements as we approach showtime, and as that comes up, and we're going to have as many folks as we can bang through in an hour or so talking to you guys about the championship trophies they have just won. That's probably going to be earlier in the day than we're normally used to seeing the Wednesday shows, just because it gets dark. We're out there at the Lincoln Airport, got to have light, and people have to go about their business. So keep watching our Facebook feed, watch our YouTube feed, and we will announce as much as we can about when that stuff is coming up. Also, looks like we're just about ready to pull the wheels off of this thing. Folks, want to tell you a little bit about the people that make this show possible. Look, I can't go anywhere in this shop without just happening to grab a can of CRC products. CRC, a proud supporter of this show. This is the QD electronics cleaner. This is something I just discovered in the last couple months since they started sponsoring this show. Like 15,000 separate products that I didn't even know about till we started doing this thing. Like this quick drying electronics cleaner, plastic safe, fantastic for any electronic needs. If you're cleaning a guitar pickup, if you're cleaning an oil pressure sensor that has oil and crud all over it that you want to put back on, awesome for that. It's plastic safe, rubber safe, all kinds of polymer safe. Great product. And this tells you how long we have been fans of CRC. This is the scrotiest old can of CRC glass and dash cleaner you can ever possibly imagine. This is street cred in a can right here. This was we bought this way back before we even knew that CRC would ever be advertising in our magazine, and we're really proud to have them on board. So if you're reaching for automotive chemicals, folks, you're at a major retailer or you're ordering stuff online and you're reaching for CRC stuff, then you know you're not only getting a fantastic product, but you're getting a product from a company that supports the world that you enjoy, this world of amateur and professional motorsports. So check them out at crcindustries.com. We'll throw a link up. Let's go back. Oh my God, you guys put the car higher than I could reach to get the tires off, but that's fine. That's fine. Let's go back to the Autobooks Aerobooks bookshelf and see what's on the bookshelf this week. Oh, I think it's going to be a surprise. Oh my God, look at this. It's a Subaru book, everybody. Yeah, this is actually a really good book by our buddy Jeff Zerschmied, and it is for anybody that has a Subaru up to about 2014, I think, is when this was last updated. Really, really good. It's 150 pages of phenomenal Subaru tech info. Lots of parts interchange stuff, lots of chassis to chassis interchange stuff in here, and lots of good general tech. In fact, here we'll do a little dramatic. Come in tight on me, Chris. Come in real tight. Can I get like a single follow spot from above? Oh, there we go. Yeah. In a turbocharged Subaru, the turbo generally sits up high relative to the engine. Although the aftermarket has exceptions to this design. But regardless of the location of the turbo, the up pipe comes down from the header to the turbo, and the down pipe returns to the exhaust system from the turbo. Folks, that is just the kind of stuff you can find in it. It's really a good book. This is actually something we refer to whenever we have Subaru editorial that is a great resource. So we'll throw a link up to that. And if you guys are Subaru fans, you can reach up to that. Oh, hey, good plug from Andrew Nelson. Challenge is coming up in 7 weeks. Good time to plug folks to participate. Yeah, $2017 challenge, baby. 7 weeks. We're going to have tons of live coverage right from Gainesville. We'll throw up a link to what that's all about if you're not familiar. Let's pull a wheel off here, see what we can see. New for 2018 is 19-inch wheels on the STI, formerly available with just 18s. All right, so let's see what we can see here. McPherson strut, aluminum lower control arm. It's kind of a almost like a 350Z style lower control arm where you've got this bushing that does just a single dimensional pivot here. It's just pivoting up and down, and this rear bushing is actually aligned and perpendicular to the forces. So this bushing actually ends up being under forces in a bunch of different ways. You've got forces pushing it side to side that deflect the bushing, and then you've got forces that are sort of twisting as this thing goes up and down. So the actual tuning of these rear bushings tends to, like Nissan 350Z has a really similar setup with these front control arms. The tuning of these rear front control arm bushings tends to be really, really important, and they're a little weird because they sort of inherently operate in kind of a bind situation. This is not. It's great for packaging. It's efficient. It's not the best way to design a bushing because you have to design a bushing that does things in different directions and in different axes at the same time. It's a pretty challenging thing to design. And it's a pretty challenging thing for the aftermarket to design too. If you were just to throw a set of hard polyurethane bushings in the back of this thing, you would have all kinds of issues to deal with because you would lose that twisting compliance as this arm goes up and down. This bushing has to be able to twist and deflect, so you would lose a lot of that compliance. You would gain compliance in this axis, but it's not, that type of setup is not something you can just throw a harder bushing at and expect it to work. So let's take another look around here. So obviously it's all-wheel drive, and it's been down the dirt road that I live on. I can see a lot of our familiar local dirt. Struts are actually kind of short, but no wasted space down here. Somebody mentioned before. Let me see them lighted. Somebody mentioned before that we may actually have some more negative camber available from these strut bolts here. Yeah, what the heck? Let's loosen it up and see if we have anything more there. Oh yeah, Dean wants to get another look at those bushings. So Chris, let's show him these bushings. This is the only time I'll make you squat tonight, buddy. So Dean, these were the bushings I was talking about right back here, and you can see the way they're oriented. So this is the direction of travel this way. These bushings have to deflect in a lot of different directions. They have to take deflection in this horizontal, this x-axis, and they have to take y-axis deflection, and here you go. And they also have to take twisting deflection. So it's a very, very complex bushing arrangement. Let me see what size we think these are. Wrenches are heavy, everybody. All right, so let's get the light up in here, Ed. So what we're doing now is we're looking at these front bolts that hold the knuckle on, and actually there's a good little bit of space. Ed, grab me. See that orange handled pick on the top, the magnetic tray up on the top, the little one, right dead center on the lid. Dead center on the lid, there's an orange handled pick. It's tiny. Yeah, that one. So let's see how much space. Yeah, man, there's a good little bit of space all the way around that nut. Yeah. And the same thing up at the top. So we're not going to actually adjust the camber on Subaru's media loan car here. But if we could, there is probably another couple of tenths of a degree of camber adjustment in that front end. So that is fairly encouraging. Now, and that's with the stock size bolts. If you were to run an eccentric bolt, a bolt with an offset shank, which if you're running like SCCA Street Class, may or may not be legal depending on what Subaru specifies for crash repair. But if you're just running track events, you're not really running under any sort of rule set, you can probably get crash bolts for these things, which will allow you to get even more camber out of the front. So that's very encouraging, actually, to see that we got a car coming out of the factory that has pretty good provision to adjust camber. So let's take another look. So Nate says, Nate, Nate's saying that this is actually a spherical bearing in here. Is that so? So this is just it might be, and if so, that would be a good way to solve it, because that would give you, actually, if this were like a spherical bearing, like a ball joint type spherical bearing, that's captured by this rubber cover here, that would actually be a decent way to solve it, because it would preserve your twist here. It would certainly limit motion side to side. Very, very tricky to tune around a spherical bearing. So if it is, and it's hard to, I mean, I'll take your word for it, because you work on these things all the time. So Rick wants to know, will white line anti-lift kit solid bushings cause any issues? A question one of our viewers can probably answer better than I can. I have not modified a modern WRX or STI. I have used white line components on several of our project cars. They're always well developed and well engineered, so they have probably been thoroughly thought out. But I'm guessing that we probably have somebody who's actually watching the show tonight who's got first-hand experience with them and can comment more intelligently than I can. Next time we do this, remember, I gotta take these wheels off first, and I'm 5'5", so we'll have like an intermediate step. Okay, let's take a look in back here. So let's see what we're looking at. Nice long control arms here. A little motion sensor here, probably for headlight level. I'm just taking a wild guess, but probably for now that they've got motorized headlights in these things, this probably takes a measurement to this sensor here that lets them know how much rake is currently in the chassis, and adjust the front headlights accordingly. May actually feed back a little bit to the stability control systems too. Again, somebody watching this can probably let me know what this ride height sensor actually does right here. So what are we looking at back here? So yeah, nice long rear control arms, about a 3.5 to 1, just kind of guessing their motion ratio on these shocks. So the shocks are not, they're They're underdriven a little bit, so even though these rear shocks are mounted quite low up here and don't have a ton of travel because of the motion ratio, you don't really need necessarily all that travel. So a nice layout there. Dog bone trailing arm here that comes off at about a 30-degree angle, and so you're going to have deflection going in a couple of, sorry Chris, I'm shining the light right in your face. You're going to have, that's going to be another really important bushing right there, and yeah, that's definitely not, grab me that pick again, Ed. Oh, hey, look at you. Yeah, that's definitely a bushing in there. So this is going to be another really, really important bushing, because it's going to have forces twisting it and deflecting it this way. So that's going to be a bushing. It's going to be really, really important when you start talking about upgrading what you want to do with that bushing. See if we have any provision for camber adjustment in the back. Another rubber bushing back here. So I don't really see a ton of provision for any camber adjustment back here, but there's probably some slop that can be taken up in this lower knuckle back here, or maybe even in the upper A-arm. Maybe not. Don't think so though. And yeah, the upper ball joint is just captured with a pinch. So you could probably get, you know, as we saw when we measured, we had almost 2 degrees of negative camber back here. So there might be another ½ degree available just from taking some of the slop out. But yeah, kind of a neat A-arm, really compact A-arm arrangement in the back here. This is a really complex upper arm. Actually, yeah, Chris, see if you can, man, your thighs are going to be killing you tomorrow morning, but see if you can get a look at how this upper control arm is designed. This upper control arm is actually almost completely L-shaped. You can see the upper pivot for this, like it looks like it's a really compact, you know, short height. If you actually look where this upper A-arm is attached, it's attached much higher up in the chassis and then curves around this part of the frame here and curves back up to the outer ball joint over here. So by using that really sort of scooped out upper A-arm arrangement, they actually get, you know, a lot cleaner motion and a lot less camber and, you know, camber change during deflection by moving those pivot points up as high as they can. All right, so let's look at some of the, actually let me go grab the iPad, see if we have any questions or anything that people want to see. Brett wants to know if it will do a burnout. Probably. Okay, we have a question from YouTube. They want to see the front brake vents. Okay, cool. Yeah, we will head up there in just a couple of seconds and show you the front brake vents. It does have front brake vents. My understanding is they are kind of fake. There's an adjustment for the rear toe right there, a little eccentric bolt with a cam on it. Lets you adjust the rear toe. So let's take a look. We'll work our way back up to those front brake vents that YouTube wanted to see, and we'll keep looking at some chassis stuff on the way. Single piston rear calipers from Brembo. I think there were 4 piston fronts. We'll confirm that when we go back up front. 3 differentials in a WRX, and I guess for 18, this center differential, which should be right up in here somewhere, is now fully electronically controlled. Yeah, that's probably going to be our center diff right there. So you can, it electronically changes the torque split from front to back to give you maximum traction. Okay, let's take a look at these front brake ducts. vents. So we have, hey Ed, bring the car back down a foot or so. So you have to put it up a little bit to be able to pull those. Yeah, you have to take the Yep. One more. That's good. Okay, so here's what appears to be our front brake vents. Obviously, it's not the entirety of this panel. This is mostly hard styling here. So of this panel, we've got about 20% of it that is open to some vents inside there, and then further vanes directing the air inside there. And where does it go from there? Well, that's a great question, isn't it? Because I don't really see how it gets.
Shine a light in there, see if
Yeah, see, stick the light in there and see if you can. So that goes somewhere. I don't know how it gets to the these are 6-piston front calipers. Actually a nice big beefy front caliper and drilled rotors. Let me sneak by here real quick, Chris. We'll measure these front rotors. So that's about 13.5 inches of front rotor with a 6-piston caliper. But yeah, I don't really see how that is directing cooling air to that caliper. It may, I mean, there's no direct path from that to the caliper. There may, I mean, that's a solid wall right there. And there's nothing really directing air. So you got a little bit of a path. Is that real? Yeah, this is real. And there's a little bit of a path out from inside the fenders, getting air out of the fenders. But as far as getting air in from those vents, I don't really see that going to the brakes. So there's your look, YouTube, at the front brake ducts, which don't really appear to cool the brakes. Yeah, so Nate says the older cars aren't ducted. I didn't think these were either. Yeah, you're absolutely right, but there definitely is a duct, an opening here that goes into there somewhere, and you can actually see. Actually, Chris, you may even be able to look in there. You can see that it's ducted to somewhere, so it's moving air somewhere in there. Just not exactly sure where it's going. But you got some nice beefy 6-piston calipers and 13.5 inch rotors are going to help dissipate whatever heat is there. And if you all you have to do is pull out this inner fender liner. You have a hole in that front bumper cover that looks like it's pretty easy to access from behind, that you could repurpose to vent these brakes fairly well. So we're going to check and see if it's the same on both sides. Let me see the light, Ed. Yeah, same deal. There's a couple of Venetian blinds. They don't open or close, but they're sort of slanted veins in there, and I don't see a cooler behind it. So I'm not going to say that it's not going anywhere, but it doesn't appear to be going anywhere obvious. I mean, clearly it's going somewhere. We just, without taking this whole bumper off, which we're not going to do because we don't want to get in that much trouble with Subaru. We can't really confirm.
Lock re-engage?
What's that?
You put the lift up a notch with the lock re-engage, or before you go under it again?
Yes. Oh, you worried about me being crushed? Is that what you're worried about?
Yeah, I had a pang of worry there.
No, it's fine. There's I have a warranty on me. Okay, so what else do you guys want to see? This is you know, fairly impressive. David, what's the MSRP on this baby? Want to look that up for us quick and tell us what a new 2018 Subaru WRX STI would cost us were we wishing to buy one. And take a quick look at our stream health over here. So folks, that's just about it. Yeah. So Dean's asking if it's a trans cooler or a power steering cooler that those vents go to. Maybe again, without pulling this whole fender liner apart and pulling the front bumper off, we're not going to really know for sure. So maybe somebody is watching right now that has had one of these apart and can comment on that. You know, I've never really checked to see exactly what we can do with press cars. I don't even know if we can do what we're doing right now, but you know, whatever. Too late. We can put it back together. So yeah, David posted the price, $36,000, $36,095 for this. You know, that is in the wheelhouse of where all this stuff is right now. For 36 grand, you're going to be looking at stuff like a Golf R, like a Focus RS, like a Civic Type R. So that's this market right now. That, you know, that is the designed competitors for this automobile. So right in the wheelhouse. I do know one thing, that Subaru is one of the companies that does not really need to work to sell cars very hard. If you're looking to go find a deal from a Subaru dealer, you're probably not going to find it. You're probably going to find MSRP, and you're going to be happy to get that, because Subaru is one of the few companies that literally sells every single car they make and does not have any trouble selling cars at all. In the last decade or so, they have come on really strong in quality rankings and in just an amazing product lineup with stuff like the WRX, like the STI, and like their partnership with Toyota, the 86 vehicles, the twins. And they have positioned themselves as one of the premier Japanese auto manufacturers, and one of the Japanese auto manufacturers making a lot of really exciting stuff, and stuff that people are buying, and stuff that people are willing to pay MSRP for. So yep, and actually this car as it sits, little more expensive, $41,700. This car has the Recaro option. It's got the big wing in the back. Actually, let's show them the wing before we sign off, Ed, because you can't have an STI in the garage without showing everybody the giant wing. Yeah, and as Andrew mentioned on Facebook, Subaru is also very safe vehicles, consistently at the top of the heap in safety and customer satisfaction rankings. You cannot argue with the quality, with the fact that Subaru, in, like I say, in the last 10, 12, 15 years, has really positioned themselves as a premier manufacturer. So let's walk around back here and take one last look at the wing. There she is. There is the infamous Subaru WRX STI wing. See if we can look at it and learn anything about it that we don't already know. Big, thick end plates on this thing. It's hollow plastic of some kind, probably some kind of, you know, glass reinforced ABS or something. But it looks like it's actually made in a couple of pieces. There's a seam down here. Let me see the light, Ed. Yeah, there's a seam and there's screws that attach something to something up there. So there is a secret Millennium Falcon style smuggling compartment inside this wing here that comes apart somehow. What?
It's 1 can tall.
Is it really?
Look at that.
Oh my God! Look at that!
It's amazing.
It is exactly 1 can of CRC quick dry electronic cleaner tall. So yeah, big, thick, beefy end plates on this thing, and a little bit of a curve to it. It's, I'm an amateur aerodynamicist, but I'm not going to make guesses about how much actual downforce this produces, but it's going to be measurable. I mean, it's certainly aggressively styled, but there actually is a bit of a chord to it. It's positioned nicely up in the airflow where it's actually gonna get some airflow to it. So it actually is going to be a working wing, and not just a spoiler. And it's actually going to produce some downforce without a ton of drag relatively. So Kella says her boyfriend has been making the comments so far, but everybody's welcome to make comments. I don't care if it's you or your boyfriend or who it is. As long as you guys are having a good time, as long as you're having fun. And folks, speaking of having fun, that is just about it for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Before we go, we're gonna actually let's walk around to the front here and give you guys a couple of parting messages. First off, want you to go check out autobooks-aerobooks.com and get great books like Jeff Zerschmied's Subaru High Performance Builder's Guide. Just something that has been on our shelf for a while. It's available at autobooks-aerobooks, along with hundreds, nay, even thousands of great automotive titles, nonfiction stuff, history stuff, photography, tech manuals, anything having to do with cars, boats, airplanes, motorcycles, anything mechanical. You're going to find it at autobooks-aerobooks.com. They are a fantastic old school brick and mortar bookstore right there in Burbank, California. If you're ever out in Southern California, you would regret not taking the chance to go check it out. Not only are they a fantastic bookstore, a great hub of automotive activity right there in Southern California. Lots of events right there on site every week. And you can go to their website and you can check out events all over Southern California, cruise-ins, cars and coffees, all kinds of different stuff. They have their pulse on everything going on automotively in Southern California. And folks, as we saw, CRC Industries, the presenting sponsor of this show, very nice people who make very, very fine chemicals. We've got a big stack of CRC chemicals up there, and like I've been telling you guys, this stuff, it's all nicely and neatly arranged, because they're a sponsor of this show. But this stuff was here long before they were a sponsor of the show. We have been fans of theirs almost as long as they have been fans of ours, maybe longer. And we use their products because they are awesome. And not only are they awesome, but they are supporters of the world that we exist and enjoy ourselves in. That is the world of amateur and professional motorsports. So if you're reaching for a can of brake cleaner, if you're at Walmart, if you're at O'Reilly Auto Parts or Napa or Advanced Auto Parts, if you're reaching for a can of brake cleaner, if you're reaching for a can of carb cleaner, baby, reach for that red can, reach for that gray can, reach for one of their green cans of their more environmentally. They have over 15,000 products, all fantastic chemicals, all from a company that supports what we're doing. Check them out at crcindustries.com. It would mean a lot to me and the entire staff of Grassroots Motorsports if you did that. And if you can't buy something this week, send them a note and say, man, I love that show. You guys support that Grassroots Motorsports Live presented by CRC Industries. They actually read that stuff and they're nice people, and makes us look cool. And there ain't much that makes us look cool. So we'll take whatever we can get. And if you want to subscribe to Grassroots Motorsports Magazine, baby, Grassroots Motorsports automotive.com/live deal. Just by going to that URL, you're going to get 15% off a new or renewal subscription to the magazine. And do we have any great deals going on this month? What's our deal of the month? Anybody know? I got like 5 people here that actually work there with me, and nobody knows.
You get a free trackside companion.
Oh yes, you get our brand new trackside companion if you subscribe this month. It's a little handbook of handy information, tech tips, checklists of stuff to do and know when you go to the track, before you go to the track, and it's a great little digest of knowledge. It's a nice little pocket companion to have. So you get a free one of those if you subscribe this month, or you can get 15% off grassrootsmotorsports.com/live deal. So go through. So Andrew says, thanks for showing us the 2018. Hey, thanks for being here, guys. We appreciate it. This was a little bit of another last minute change because we are leaving for SCCA Nationals tomorrow. So we happen to have this car in the press fleet, so we just thought we'd show it to you guys. Kella says she really liked this. Thanks for doing this. Hey, thanks for being here, Kella. We are doing this every week, usually Wednesday nights. We rescheduled it this week, but if you like us on Facebook, you'll get notices about the show every week. And if you're watching on YouTube tonight and you hit that little subscribe button, you'll get notified every time we go live. And if you missed any part of this video, go to our YouTube channel in about an hour and a half, and the entire archive of this will be on our Grassroots Motorsports YouTube channel. Usually it takes less than 2 hours, and it's up there on YouTube. We really appreciate the likes and the shares and the links to our stuff too, folks. That is the modern social media currency. I see a lot of likes coming in. I've seen a lot of shares tonight. So we really appreciate that. And finally, yeah, Joe says, good luck at Nationals. We'll see you there. Thank you. I'm excited. This is going to be last ride for our Project Mustang. We're going to be bringing you a lot of live coverage as much as we can from Nationals. So I'm excited to be in that car one last time, and we'll see if we can give it a good send-off. Folks, thank you very much for being with us tonight. Big thanks to Chris, who's running the Steadicam tonight, Ed and Tom, who have been helping out with the tech stuff tonight, David Wallens, who is back running the board. Chris, show them all these guys hanging out back there. Ed, get up there and wave to everybody. There's our big broadcast box. There's the whole crew tonight. Now back on me, damn it. Now back to me. Folks, I'm JG Pasternak. Thank you very much for watching Grassroots Motorsports Live. We'll see you next week from Lincoln, Nebraska, in the world's largest participant motorsports event, the SCCA Tire Rack SCCA Nationals. Good night, everybody.